Hi students, so today as promised in my last tutorial, I am going to teach you the poetry, The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. Ogden Nash was an American poet. He was known for his humorous poetries. In fact, the New York Times called him one of America's most humorous poets. The Tale of Custard the Dragon is a humorous poetry. But if you read between the lines, I really think that Ogden Nash very subtly does send a message across. So what is that message? Let's turn to The Tale of Custard the Dragon and find out. Okay, first about The Tale of Custard the Dragon. This poetry is a ballad. Now what is a ballad? A ballad, in short, is a poem that tells you a story. We have so many ballads in our Hollywood and Bollywood movies. The songs, they tell you stories sometimes. Take Om Shanti Om, Kars. They tell you an entire story of what happened. So a ballad is a poem that tells a story. And usually ballads were written on heroes or on kings or princes or knights. Some heroism. But here, Ogden Nash writes a ballad which is humorous. It does tell you a story, but in a very comic form, and that is why it is a parody. It's a comic imitation. The Tale of Custard the Dragon has a lot of rhyme and rhythm. When you read the poetry, it has a lot of rhyme and rhythm and a number of figures of speech, which we will deal later. But the rhythm and rhyme really reminds me of rapping. I really admire those who can rap, because rapping is not easy. It is a skill or an art that requires memory. You should know the lyrics or the words by heart. It is fast paced, so you have to say the words correctly and fast and in rhythm, and you have to send the meaning of the story across. So, rapping is something I really admire, and youngsters are very good at it. So usually in my class I can identify 2 to 3 or 4 maybe who can do this rapping, and I will try this at the end of my tutorial. Just rap maybe say 2 stanzas of this poetry. So wait. Okay, so as the story goes, there is Belinda, a girl who lives in her little white house with her pets. And who are her pets? Her pets, a little black kitten, a little grey mouse, a little yellow dog, and a little pet dragon. A dragon as a pet. A dragon, as it is an imaginary creature, but yet a little black kitten. Now what does she name her little black kitten? She calls it Ink. A little grey mouse, she calls him Blink. A little yellow dog, Mustard. And a little pet dragon, she calls him Custard. Okay? Now a little black kitten, Ink. Ink is black, and so probably, we all have to say probably. So probably Ink. A little grey mouse, Blink. Say in the blink of an eye means quickly. So maybe the mouse, quickly moves from place to place, and in a blink he is not to be seen. So probably because of his swiftness, Blink. A little yellow dog, Mustard. Mustard flowers are yellow in color. You see a mustard field, it's yellow. So probably because of that, and his color is yellow, a little yellow dog, Mustard, and a little pet dragon, Custard. The rhyming word with mustard, and custard is sweet and soft like the dragon. Now in this house, in a little white house, she lives with her pets and a wagon. Okay? So, now what happens is that these pets Belinda and her pets take pride in being very brave. They are courageous. They keep on talking about their bravery. They are courageous. They have, and at the same time, Custard, he keeps crying for a safe cage where he can stay. He keeps crying for a nice safe cage. Dragons are supposed to be symbolize strength and valor, and yet ironically here this dragon Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. And one day what happens is, there is a pirate. You know pirates? Pirates are robbers at sea. A pirate enters through Belinda's window, and all these, the cat, the kitten, the mouse and the dog and Belinda, who claimed to be fearless, were nowhere to be seen. They fled, they ran away, sensing danger. But Custard, he faced the pirate, he went at it, he gobbled the pirate and killed the pirate. After that happened, they all came together, Belinda, the kitten, the mouse and the dog, Ink, Blink, Mustard. They appreciated Custard, they patted him on his back, they danced around him, they licked him, but after that, again, once the danger was over, the danger is averted, they got back to saying that and they give excuses for why they were not there when the pirate came. So if is a small little word, I and F, just two letters. But when you use that word if, it means you are going to give a big excuse for what hasn't been done. So if this has happened, I would have done this. If. So they start giving excuses for them not being there to face the pirate, and they say they would have been brave, but this happened. And so again it comes back to the same thing, and Custard again agrees that he is not brave, and he keeps crying for a nice safe cage. He says everyone is braver than him. In spite of proving his bravery, in spite of killing the pirate, he still says that he is not brave. So this is the story in short. Once we go and read the poetry, we'll go in a bit more detail. Okay? We read the poetry aloud, and as we go, I can explain if there is need for explanation. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog and a little red dragon, and a realio, trulio little pet dragon. Now realio, trulio means real and true. A real and true dragon, but poets have this poetic license where they can change the form of the word or the spelling of the word. This is called poetic license. Okay? This can be done for rhythm or rhyme, or just to add some fun. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. Custard, the dragon, had big sharp teeth. Okay, now she's describing. And spikes on top of him and scales underneath. So these are spikes on top of him, scales underneath. Mouth like a fireplace. Breathing out fire, giving out fire. So mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose. So smoke coming out from the nose, so chimney for a nose. And realio, trulio, daggers on his toes. So on his toes, he had sharp claws, which were like daggers. So daggers are a short knife, a sharp bent knife. Okay? Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. So they are so brave. Belinda has the valor which is fit about barrel full of bears, the strength of so many bears all together put together. And Ink and Blink was so brave that they could chase lions away. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage. Mustard was as brave as an angry tiger. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. So Custard kept crying because he wanted to be safe in a cage. Belinda tickled him. She tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the really, truly, cowardly dragon. So Belinda tickled him. Here tickled means she makes fun of him, she mocks him, teases him, and she tickled him unmerciful, without any mercy. See children, we make fun of others, we tease others, but at the same time, we should have certain limits. The moment you realize that the other person is feeling hurt, you must stop. There should be no unmerciful treatment of someone else. So it's a very important thing here. She tickled him unmerciful, without mercy. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely call him Percival. Very rude. Very rudely they call him names. Percival. Now Percival is a character, is a knight. A knight is a soldier on a horse. So in quotes, earlier a knight was a soldier, mounted soldiers. So Percival was a knight in King Arthur's court, and he was mocked at by others because he was not brave. Okay, so people made fun of him, the others made fun of him because he had no heroic traits. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the really, truly, cowardly dragon. So poor dragon, they all looked down on him, made fun of him. Belinda giggled till she shook the house. And Blink said, "Weak," which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age. When Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Whenever Custard cried that he wanted a cage, he wanted to be safe, they made fun of him, they laughed. And Ink and Mustard asked his age. "You're crying like a baby. What is your age?" Okay. Suddenly, they heard a nasty sound. And Mustard growled, and they all looked around. "Meow," said Ink, and "Ooh," said Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. Now, window means window. But again, I told you poetic license, so to rhyme with Belinda, it's window. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. A cutlass is a short sword. So in his teeth he has a short sword, in 2 hands he has pistols. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. So he had a black beard. This is the description of the pirate. His leg was one leg was of wood, so he had an artificial leg. That means maybe probably during a fight or during a fight at sea, he has lost one leg. And his intentions were to harm someone. So his intentions were not good. He meant no good. Belinda paled and she cried, "Help, help!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yell. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little Mouse Blink strategically mouseholed. So Belinda, she became white with fear, she became pale with fear, and she cried for help. But there was no one to help her, obviously, because Mustard, he yelled, cried out loudly, a shrill cry, and he ran away. Ink trickled down slowly, slyly, like kittens, at the bottom of the household, and little Mouse Blink strategically mouseholed. So he very, very well planned. Strategy is a plan. So he planned well and went into his little hole. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine. So he made sound like an engine and he jumped up. Clashed his tails like irons in a dungeon. His tail, he clashed, moved about his tail, like irons in a dungeon. What is a dungeon? A dungeon is an a cell, an underground prison or a cell, which earlier castles and kings had. And they used to tie their prisoners down there with iron chains. So that sound is he's clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon, like the chains, he's making that sound of the tail. With a clatter and a clang and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. You know how robins, the birds, when they see their prey, the worm, they swoop and attack. Similarly, Custard went at the pirate and attacked him. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon. He doesn't know what is this. What is this? He looked at him and got some grog from his pocket flagon. So he drank some grog. Grog is a drink that the sailors usually drink from his pocket flagon. Flagon is a bottle which is used for wine or things. He fired 2 bullets. First he took some drink because to take control of the situation. Then he fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him every bit. Now, over, the danger is gone. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. So Belinda was happy, she hugged him, Mustard licked him. No one felt sad for this pirate victim. Ink and Blink in glee did gyrate, so they danced around in circles, around the dragon that ate the pirate. But presently, up spoke little dog Mustard. I'd have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. Again, they got their little bit of courage back. Okay? So they say, I would have been twice as brave, but I got a little bit nervous, flustered, nervous. And Ink and Blink also speak up. They say, we would have been 3 times as brave, we think. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. Okay, some important messages that we can dig from this poetry are: empty vessels make more noise, or it's the same, barking dogs seldom bite. That is, those who talk too much, brag about something, boast about something, usually do not work much. So just talk and no work. Know your strengths. Students, if you are capable of something, you should know it. Okay? Do not allow others to walk over you or look down on you like Custard did. He accepted. In spite of being brave, he said, you all are braver than me. No, do not allow others to make fun of you. It is important for your self-respect. And vice versa, you don't make fun of others and hurt anyone's sentiments. Okay? Let's turn to the figures of speech now. In the first stanza, second line, little black kitten, little grey mouse, little, the word is repeated, so it is repetition. Again in the third line, repetition. In the second stanza, again there is repetition. Little, the word little is repeated. So when words are repeated, it is repetition. Little grey mouse, little black kitten, little yellow dog, it's all repeated. In the third stanza, the third line, mouth like a fireplace. So the first part is a simile, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, chimney, nose, direct, so metaphor. So the second part of that line, chimney for a nose, is metaphor. First part, mouth like a fireplace, is simile. Fourth line, daggers on his toes, again it is a metaphor. Daggers on his toes. So his toes are compared to daggers without using as or like. So fourth line is metaphor. Fourth stanza, Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. Now you have alliteration, burr sound repeated, Belinda, brave, barrel, bears, plus it is a simile, as brave as. So there are 2 figures of speech in the first line. Third line, Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, as brave as simile. And the last line, Custard cried for a nice safe cage, curl. Sound is repeated, alliteration. In the fifth stanza, tickled, tickled, first line, repetition. In the 6th stanza, again, Custard cried is alliteration. In the 7th stanza, suddenly, suddenly, repetition. Okay. 8th stanza, pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, repetition. In the 9th stanza, third line, beard was black, alliteration. 9th stanza, Belinda played, she cried, help, 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 repetition. In the 10th stanza, snorting like an engine, simile, snorting like, making a sound like an engine. Clashed his tails like irons in a dungeon, again a simile. Clatter and a clang, that's a sound. Alliteration, club, sound is repeated. He went at the pirate like a robin at a worm, again a simile. In the 11th stanza, gulped some grog, alliteration. In the 12th stanza, Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him, repetition. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and bling did glee and glee did gyrate, gur sound, alliteration. 13th stanza, up spoke ink and up spoke blink, it is repetition. And the last 2 stanzas are again the first 2 stanzas repeated. So as promised, I will try to rap, okay? Please bear. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse and a little yellow dog and a little red dragon and a real, truly, a little pet dragon. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. But the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. You. So that's the tale of Custard the dragon. I hope you have understood and enjoyed the tutorial. Till then, bye.